Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Harlick, your host at Wise Skies Collective. And today we have our special guest and dear friend, Celeste Brooks of Astrology by Celeste. Hi, Celeste.
Hi, Tiffany. It's so nice to see you today.
I'm so excited to work with you and talk about the new moon that's coming up. It's August 27th. And so Celeste and I have been talking behind the scenes about her class that's coming up and my class that's coming up. And we thought this is a great opportunity to just have a casual chat and really focus in on this new moon energy. So some of you guys have been involved with Celeste classes, or maybe you just did the Lionsgate class that she did for us on the new moon. And this one in particular, this is a great time to shift in and start working with the phases of the moon. I love the new moon in Virgo. It's one of my favorite ones to work with. And I know that this particular moon is challenged by Mars. And so Celeste and I are going to get into the nitty gritty of that. And then we're going to tell you, we're going to do some card readings for you guys. And then we're going to talk about some of our classes that are coming up. So with that in mind, Celeste, should we just start kind of broad and say, all right, we understand the new moon is a good time to seed things, to plant some ideas or intentions. And the new moon in Virgo, what are some of your wishes that you like to put into your new moon pot?
Well, I think I love Virgo energy because it is a great opportunity in order to have some joy in doing the mundane tasks in life. It's so perfect after Leo season where we're, out and about having fun, socializing, and then our pants are tight, and then here comes Virgo energy, and it's time to, be a little bit more discerning about how we're spending our time and figure out what are our healthy habits versus maybe our unhealthy habits. Maybe do some decluttering and cleaning up from everything that's gone on before. But yeah, Virgo energy at its best brings order to chaos. So it's like a time to kind of rein things in and start thinking about the routines and rituals in your life and how can you make the mundane sacred again, and just kind of settle down with the whole back to school kind of feel of the Virgo season.
So I needed to hear that, make the mundane sacred, because I make the mundane mundane. And I just make a checklist and go through it. But how you make the mundane sacred, it can be different for everybody. I tend to get caught in my disciplines. I'm it's like it becomes something to get off of a checklist rather than to have a sacred experience. And so one shift that I have made is, there's some certain things I want to do for my spiritual fitness every day, but I don't necessarily have to do them at the same time in the same order. I do want to meditate, I do want to go for my walk. I do want to make sure I'm drinking 3 of these or more. But that adding some sacredness to it, I think I really needed to hear that. I love it for all the reasons that you said too. It's that the back to school, it's like there's order in the court. We can ease into a fall rhythm, which is really hard to do. I report from Texas, guys, and Celeste reports from California. Both of us we are having an extraordinarily hot day, hot summer, lots of drought here. And so sometimes that shift into Virgo, into the earth signs, can also be a relief from so much of the heat, that seasonal shift,
Yeah.
So let's talk also
before we go on, and this is something Sarah Lahart talks about. She's going to be your teacher, I think, in Virgo season, about with the water. You were like, oh, I drink 3 of those. So especially for people with low water or something, really as you're drinking, just stop and drink the water and imagine it running down throughout your body. That's kind of a way to bring some sacredness into the practice, and think about how it's hydrating you and nourishing you, and kind of just taking a step back and sinking into the act of it and connecting with it a bit is one of the ways you can make something that's mundane sacred. Or like if you're cleaning the house and like putting on your favorite album. I've been listening to both Beyonce's new album and Lizzo's new album, which I kind of which I've been enjoying. Yeah, while I'm like straightening things up and stuff like that, and like bringing some joy into the mundane as well as sacredness.
It's
Great.
funny you say that. I woke up with the Supremes in my head, and so I listened to the Supremes all morning, and it was more joyous than like get up and serious and focus. It was like get up and have a good morning. And the water, right? Like the water, you can put your words around your water. Of course, you could put like your intentions around your water glass and infuse your water, right? The work of Masaru Emoto, who I got to see here speak here in Austin before he passed, but that's the work of infusing the water with positive words, intentions, sound vibrations. If you're into homeopathics, you can drop a little pellet in your water and take sips over time. Adding trace minerals to your water would be a nice way to incorporate the earth element into your water glass, right? I put trace minerals in mine. I put too much in. You're supposed to do just a little bit, but I just want to get it all in. So a little bit of trace minerals in your water.
Yeah. And lately it's not even Virgo season yet, but Mercury, the planet of how we think and communicate, is in Virgo. And as I've been walking my dog, like I really love listening to podcasts. I'm always trying to learn something or listening to an audible book. But I've been walking in silence lately. This just occurred to me as a way to like connect in. Like this week is amazing for downloads and things. So yeah, that's another way to kind of, just change the things you do and make it a little bit more mindful in Virgo season could be an intention you set for it. Yeah.
The other thing that has come to mind lately with Virgo's season, it's the little things, right? It's the little things that make a huge difference. And so, like you said, just one drawer, just one part of your house, it will lead to another part of your house. So the little things really do add up when you're thinking about interacting with your colleagues, your family, your friends. And speaking of family, I don't know if this is like astrologically correct or poor astrology etiquette, but I associate Virgo with your lineage, with your ancestors.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I started thinking that way. It certainly wasn't taught to me that way, but I've started thinking about it as a way to study, to get the details, right, Virgo, of your personal lineage. And so that might be something that comes naturally to you, or you might want to put some pictures of your ancestors up in a spot in your house and at this time of year too. So your lineage, studying your traditions, right? Things like this.
Yeah, the things that were passed down. Yeah.
Yeah.
For your family. Yeah, because a lot of our habits, and Virgo, really is associated like with the daily tasks and habits come from our families. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, good. Let's make it make sense. I'm going to accept that challenge to not listen to a podcast when I walk, because I'm like you. We're birds of a feather. Like put on something, let me learn something. But you miss the opportunity to listen if you're constantly getting feedback, So
yeah, I think it was one of the classes you were teaching about, like talking about being observant. And I am so in my head so much that, that's something I'm working on. So like when I'm walking, like, what color is that car? How many people are in it? Yeah, like thinking about being more aware of what's going on and bringing the words in to describe what I'm seeing, as well as something I'm working on practicing to just be more present in daily life.
It is so huge for your psychic development to be able to do that. I don't call it the reverse blink, but my friend Dave in Human Design, he had this video that he put up that it was called the reverse blink. And so it's like, if this is just a normal blink, right? A reverse blink would be keeping your eyes closed and then boop, opening them and closing them, and then trying to recall what you saw in that split second, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's another little tool you can use to work on your psychic development and be observant, which we are going to talk about later because I have a free August 30th. I hope everybody can come learn about psychic development and psychic catalyst circles, and it's just a welcome open house opportunity. We're going to talk about specifically how you pick up psychic information about dates and times. So nice little segue there. But we'll talk about that later. On about this new moon, I want to show you guys the chart. So I think I can just share my screen. Share.
And I think another important thing in framing this new moon is that Leo season has been so intense. I mean, with the pile up between Mars, Uranus, and the North Node, and then we had, and Mars, the planet of action, North Node, big surprises. North Uranus, the shocks and awe, sudden breaks, surprises. The North Node, which way we're heading, and all of that stuff. And then Mars went and
Gemini
squared Saturn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it was like there was just a lot going on in Leo season. There was just a lot of intensity. And the full moon was very Saturnian. So I feel like this Virgo energy is going to give us a break and some like relaxing of the energy, that the intensity that we've been feeling.
Well, now that you brought up the Mars square, Uranus also squared Saturn too, which was the big signature theme of last year, right? Like this, which we were calling these big gong crashes. Was it 2020 or 2021?
2021, we had three Uranus and the Saturn Uranus squares. And now they're moving together again. Saturn's in retrograde, Uranus is direct, but Uranus is getting ready to stay. They get within half a degree of the square again, but it's not perfected, and then they'll start separating. But yeah, we've been feeling this intensity of them coming back together, like a lot of just chaos. I mean, going on, unexpected things, monkeypox. Yeah. I feel like there's this volcano that erupted in Iceland. If you look at that, that's such a signature of what's been going on in terms of this, first there were all these earthquakes, under the surface, all this shaking, and then boom, the lava starts spewing everywhere. It kind of feels like, and it's in some ways it's really beautiful, but it's destabilizing in other ways. But it needs to release. The release needs to come.
The release needs to come is right. And I have a question for you about this, because it's I mean, studying astrology, it's pretty easy to see that there's volcanic, eruptive, explosive, electric energy with these challenges, with these squares. But is there a way that we could have predicted that Iceland would have been the spot for that to come up, right? Or are we just, how would we have been able to determine a location?
There are people who map things. Yeah. I know Ann Ortley was talking about mapping, and she's an amazing astrologer, mapping that Mars Uranus North Node, and part of it, like it was going through Russia and some other places where we had things. I need to study up on that more to understand, like, we can see the map of where like eclipses are going to be, but I don't personally yet know how to do that for these other aspects, but I'm sure there is a way to have an indication of where there's potentially going to be some activity around stuff. But
I'm inspired to learn more about that, because like one of the astrologers I follow in terms of the geopolitical mapping does identify, he does say like, wow, here's what's going on with Russia and China and the US, and here's where you might expect to see some financial breakdowns, and he points things out that are accurate. And so I'm going to put that on my learning list to understand better, because of course, we know how to look at your astrocartography. I could help you
Yes.
move somewhere, but in terms of, I think that'll be a fun thing for me to explore.
Well,
So,
let me know if you find a great resource, because yeah, I'd find that really interesting as well.
and I just do it psychically, right? Like I didn't try to understand Iceland, but the psychic part, you can look at locations. So using astrology with your psychic is huge. It's a huge, like, what's the right word? Secret weapon is a bad way to say it, but it's just so impactful. So the more you study astrology, the more information you have to work in the psychic world. So same with your cards too, if you're a tarot reader. So backing up in this chart, and then I'll take the chart away so that you're not just staring at the chart for the whole time. But I want to talk about, look at this Mars and Sun Moon square happening exactly. And I want to talk about the fact that there's a chart of the new moon that we're looking at. This is just an imprint. And so how can we work best with,
You know what, Tiffany? It's not the exact time of the new moon in this chart.
oh, good.
It's well, it's 1:16 a.m. Pacific time, so it should be 4:16 a.m. Philadelphia time.
4:16. Good. Okay. So I'm gonna fix that. And if you'll keep the pace going, I'll fix it in my
Yeah,
chart.
it's 4:16 a.m. 56 minutes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it and the new moon's at 4 Virgo, and on that chart it's at 3.
It's not. Well, fortunately, it keeps the square the same.
Yeah.
I mean, or unfortunately,
Yeah.
depending on how
But
you
yeah, maybe why don't I talk a little bit about the Saturn Uranus square while you're pulling that up.
Okay.
So Saturn is the planet of boundaries, structure, discipline, limitations. It's the farthest planet we can see. The ST words are very associated with Saturn, like structure, stamina, stability, those sorts of things. You can think of just about any ST word. And Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus breaks things. So Saturn limits things. Uranus pushes back past limits. So they're opposite energies in a lot of ways. And so we could see last year that, structures we thought we could depend on Saturn were suddenly breaking. And the supply chain issue is one of the biggest things that has had an ongoing issues. Like, I don't know if people remember, but there was a time where like all the boats were stuck in a port, and it was causing all this chaos with deliveries to because demand suddenly shot up for things that there hadn't been because of how we've changed our lives throughout the pandemic. The baby formula shortage is very Saturn square Uranus, that sort of thing. So we're still in this undercurrent of that energy, and it's going to continue until Saturn moves into Pisces next year. And I think it's around, I can't remember exactly when Saturn moves into Pisces. So we just need to be aware that there is still this, this energy. And I think it's going to be, we're going to be seeing more of it we're going to talk about like Mars and Gemini a little bit. Like it's getting more and more difficult to get computer chips and things like that. So we're going to keep seeing this in a lot of ways. And the great resignation, like people have just had it. They've been awakened to life in
I
different
know
ways.
that I've had a lot of readings this last week where people are quitting their jobs. How about you?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
People have had it. Yeah, they're moving on.
So my internet is not pulling up the thing quickly, so I will pull the chart back up, but it's just loading. It does keep that square going, and I want it to be something that fuels us, right? So sometimes the new moon and in the dark space, there's a big quiet, or there's like what we call a magic dark, this moment of faith, of You can't have the fruit the day that the seed is planted, right? But with Mars there, it's kind of like you put your seeds on a growing mat and you got a little extra oomph to things in some ways. It just fuels a little bit. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna pay attention to what is going on the 27th and 28th. For me, the 28th is a 7-year Saturn return of a significant event in my life. So that's another thing that you guys could play with. Are you having any significant cycles coming back around on this new moon?
Yeah, so the new moon is at 4 degrees of Virgo,
Mhm.
and Mars is at 4 degrees of Gemini. And Virgo and Gemini are both mutable energies, and they're both ruled by the planet Mercury. So yeah, there could be a lot of like mental stuff going on with people. It's so interesting because the squares, like kind of the signs in the same mode, want to do kind of the same thing in different ways. But yeah, that Virgo energy wants to take in a lot of information and then organize and separate it, whereas Gemini just wants to take it all in just to have
Yeah.
it. And yeah, so the cautiousness of Virgo is going to be like pushed by that Mars energy to like just get, okay, you got what you need. Let's just get going and do it. So I think it'll be an interesting new moon that's going to be, even though it's a dark, the sky is dark and we're supposed to be internal and everything. I think that Mars is going to push us to really want to take some action.
And I love that, like what you were just talking about in terms of push us to take some action. So in human design, sometimes like we have a closed route or an open route. And so if you're interested in human design, I would love to support you in that. But this idea of the sense of urgency to get something done, and I noticed that in your class. So I want to pivot and talk about your class too here, because in Moon Mastery, let's see, I didn't have it up right. In Moon Mastery, that is something that was one of the biggest things one of your biggest things was, are you a goal digger with big dreams? Are you a procrastinator? Are you a spiritual seeker, right? Are you a recovering perfectionist? This Virgo new moon with Mars, that's right for the recovering perfectionist, And anyways, do you want to pivot and talk a little bit about the classes that you have coming up?
Yeah, so Moon Mastery is my signature class. I am a Taurus sun, Aries moon, and a Cancer rising. So the moon rules the sign of Cancer, and I have my natal moon in Aries in my 10th house. So connecting with my natal moon, because the moon rules our subconscious, has been like life-changing. And working with the moon is all about making the subconscious conscious so that you can live life more presently. And there are a lot of different ways we can work with the moon. So my class is teaching you how to connect in with your natal moon as well as the transiting moon. So it teaches through the lens of astrology, but all about how to live life more in a way that's more conscious and more understanding our reactivity, how to take care of our emotional body, how to understand what's going on in our life. A lot of times events in our life are really triggered by these moon phases and you just like tap into understanding your decision making so much clearer when you have an understanding of the moon. So yeah, well, you'll get some of the basics around astrology, but I think starting the class, it's good for people to have just an understanding of the signs. And you'll learn a lot about how to take care of your natal moon, about the moon phases, how to work with the moon phases, and then really diving into setting intentions. Yeah, so that's Moon Mastery 101, and that's going to start on September 12th. Moon Mastery 102, and it's going to be 6 weeks taught live on Zoom. And then Moon Mastery 201 will come right after it. And this will be more advanced and getting into helping people understand how to use this. It's another 6 weeks. So yeah, so if you're interested in potentially learning with me, I have 4 free webinars and workshops that I'm teaching ahead of the class. So you can get to see my style and see if you'd like to join to really deepen your relationship with the moon and the moon phases and cycles and eclipses and all of that stuff. Yes, so that's Moon Mastery.
Well,
What
and I want to take the last class first. I'm like a dessert first kind of a girl.
the progress moon?
Yeah. I'm like, let's talk about that. That is something that is really fun to look at in your individual astrology readings. And what's yeah, like I said, I'm a dessert first kind of a girl. So guys, you just go to astrologybyceleste.com/classes, and I'll have a special code for you if you want to use that to get into the class. At first, you need to go here, right? They need to join the wait list, and then you'll email them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be kept aware of when everything launches.
Okay. No, I must have excitedly.
But yeah, if you go to show the events page.
Yes.
My website.
Events. Here we go.
Yeah. So I'm having 4 free classes. So on August 30th, you could get a double dose. You could go to Tiffany's Psychic Development, and that evening come to learn about the power of the moon, where this is just an introductory thing where I talk about why the moon is so important in astrology and in understanding it. Because I think a lot of classes like kind of skip over the moon pretty quickly. So yeah, I talk about why it's so important. And when I do these free events, there at the end, I always will do some hot takes on people's natal charts. So you can bring your birth information. And then the next one will be on the September 4th, will be about celestial insights on your moon story. Celestial Insights, that's the name of my podcast, and with my name being Celeste, so I'll give people insights on there, and also talk about astrology in action. I love talking about things in the news and in the collective with the astrology and helping people connect that story. And then on September 6th, it's manifesting with the moon. And then the last one on September 11th is Ask Celeste Anything. So people can come and ask me anything. I can pull up their charts and what have you. So it's just, I like to have fun with these, and then for them to be fun, interactive, and informative.
Yeah, and they are. So thank you for this offer and stepping forward into your calling, because this is amazing. And I just want to kind of put it out there. It's probably no accident that both Celeste and I are offering something on August 30th. So watch when your astrologers time things, and piggyback on them. See what thing that you want to do on the 30th. I'm going to definitely come to these. I'm taking both full courses, even though I've got 20 years of astrology. I still love learning from different people because they bring a different frequency to it. And Celeste is absolutely right in that people skip over the moon a lot, and I'm guilty of that. It moves around so fast. You don't want to track it as an astrologer. You're looking for the whole year, and the moon's moving every couple of days. But it does offer really powerful information for you. I love the way that you worded it, the care and feeding of your moon. It's so moony, and I think it's really important too for people that parent others to help understand. It's kind of like your emotional love language, or how you can even be, we receive care differently, or we want to receive care differently. And sometimes we're born into a family that doesn't provide the care that we need. And so learning about our moons, and that can also help with that deep sense of self-care, which is great. And we can circle back around to the Virgo new moon. Did I miss anything on the Virgo new moon besides pulling the wrong chart up the first time? Was there any?
I think the big thing is the new moon squares Mars, and Mars is having a bunch of aspects. So it's conjunct the fixed star. Wait, let me pull it back up. It's conjunct the fixed star Murphak. So people can be feeling a drive to overcome limitations. So I think that's a positive thing. And I think it's a wonderful new moon to set intentions about how you're going to network with other people for idea generation, because Mars is in Gemini, an air sign, and air wants to connect us with other people through talking about ideas. So that's something. Another big feature of this new moon is Venus. Venus is in a T square with the Saturn-Uranus square. So Venus is at 19 Leo, squaring Uranus at 18 Taurus, and opposing Saturn at 20 Aquarius. So there can be some tension around relationships, and people feeling the need to break free from restrictive relationships, as well as there can be some feelings of loneliness in relationships. So just be present about that. And also Venus and Leo can like to like go big and be spending things, and like we just had Venus in a trine with Jupiter. So about August 27th could be when the bill comes in the mail with your credit card statement and you spent too much money and you're like, oh, yeah. So that can be how that shows up in real life, with that Venus opposite Saturn square the Uranus.
Right. And that's for me, it's like all my healthcare bills are coming in. So I'm like, great, that's awesome.
Yeah, Venus rules money, it rules our resources, as well as love and all that, relationships.
Yeah. Well, now you brought up something too when we were talking before about the Sabian symbol, and I wondered if you wanted to weave that into the chat.
Yeah, so I love the Sabian symbols, and what they are is this woman, Elsie Wheeler, who is a blind clairvoyant, sat under a tree with Mark Edmund Jones, a well-known astrologer in San Diego in the 1920s. And they went through every degree of the zodiac, all 360. And for each one, she channeled an image and he wrote them down. And this woman, Linda Hill, wrote this wonderful book about the Sabian symbols. This is hard to get. Her website has been down when I've checked, but she's an Australian astrologer. And so you always read the Sabian symbol 1 up. So this new moon is at 4 Virgo. So you read 5 Virgo in the book. And it's a man becoming aware of nature spirits and normally unseen spiritual energies is the Sabian symbol. Yeah. So we can really think about, the rational mind versus being open to, the conscious universe and the psychic things. And just being awakened to, that there's more than just what we can see in front of ourselves. And what
oh my gosh, there is so much more than what we can see in front of ourselves. And yes, and I'm blown away that that's the Sabian symbol for this new moon. And I'm really glad that you pointed out that you read the degree after, because that's an easy mistake to make. And it's a world of difference in terms of your interpretation. So thank you for that. So will you read it one more time? It's a man
becoming aware of nature spirits and normally unseen spiritual energies.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the share for a second. Do you guys want a little ghost story?
Yes.
You want a little ghost? Becoming aware of nature spirits, right? So let's see. I'm going to talk about this some in our Psychic Catalyst class, but you guys know that I practice psychic mediumship. I connect with our loved ones on the other side, and this is a symbol for me that reminds me of just that connectedness and how thin the veil really is and how close our loved ones really are. But last weekend we've had paranormal activity in the house for quite a while, and you would think that I would have done an investigation, but I just hadn't. And we did one. And so my friend's father came through and I gave her a beautiful reading. It was very healing. We had this crazy knock sound that just jolted us into like, okay, somebody's trying to get our attention. And the following morning, we had this other medium that was doing a demonstration that confirmed exactly. She said, "Did you have a big knock sound last night?" And she went through the whole series of events. And it was scary at first, but I know that when I'm doing these readings, or when I'm connecting with my psychic work, or if I'm connecting with the nature spirits or the unseen world, right, that there's no malice, there's no intent for harm when we have those moments of the electricity flickering or the house creaking or something. But spirit does try to get your attention. And so can we move into this new moon phase in a way where there's no fear around that, and where we're also being smart and protective of our own energy so that we're not drained by constant communication, right? Virgo likes to have clear lines. So one practice that you might want to play with would be putting yourself in a glass cube. So your glass cube, right? Like you can go all under your feet, over your head, you're in a glass cube. It doesn't feel suffocated. Your energy can expand out. You can still breathe out, but nothing really gets into your cube. You can still communicate. And then from that glass cube, right, in a safe place, and you've connected to the highest good, and I'm assuming everybody is doing that first, then you can begin to expand your energy out, and as you expand your energy out, you'll start to kind of feel things bumping up into your aura, and you can get curious, and you can meet your guides that way. You can meet your loved ones that way. You don't need a psychic medium to connect with your loved ones, right? You can do it. And so in this new moon, if that is a practice that you want to work with, right, it would also really remedy what Celeste was talking about in terms of loneliness, broken heart, relationship jolts, breaking out of that. When you connect with your guides, when you connect with spirit in that way, there's no loneliness anymore, because you feel fully supported all the time. And it's not as simple as just, oh, a light flicker, oh yeah, he's back. It's this deep commitment to your own spiritual growth and your own spiritual practice that helps you feel that sense of connection, because you're doing your meditation and you're consciously developing that. So I wanted to give you that story and that practice. And I do want to invite everybody to Psychic Catalyst, and then I think we should pull some cards for everybody. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Technology patience. Thanks, everyone. Let's see.
Yeah, so what time is Psychic Catalyst?
I'm gonna pull it up for us. I think I just closed out of everything. So it's on August 30th, and that is the free one. Let's see, we're gonna do it. Oh, I don't have it on the up. So we're gonna do it at noon Central. So I'll update my website with that timing. And I'm just going to share this with you guys so you can see where to go. So here we are on wiseskiescollective.com/classes. And so we've got Sarah coming to teach about the Midheaven on September 12th. Please come. She sent me her class outline ahead of time, and I'm like, oh, like she's pointing out so much about the Midheaven that I think you're really going to love. And then I've got Psychic Catalyst coming, which is Tuesdays at noon. So the bulk of the classes will be September 3rd through 25th. They're $22 each, or you can save 30% and register them all at once for $108. So you get the replays. We already have people signing up, so I know it's a hot topic. I know that you're interested in it, and I know that this is the time of year to be focusing on it. But please come be our guest if all this is new to you. We're going to specifically focus the first practice round on getting your dates and times psychically. So specific strategies and techniques to help you with that. And then maybe we can overlay that into our astrology practice. So
I'm excited for this.
I'm
going to mark my calendar so I can join all of these.
Well, it blows me away. Let's see, stop my share. It blows me away at what happens in class together. And all the time, every time people are like, oh, I knew it was purple crystal and I didn't say it, and so you were born wise, we're born psychic. All we have to do is just practice a little. It takes bravery, it takes courage, it takes strength. And so it's not all about being soft and woo-woo, but I just encourage you to, if this new moon is one of the things is you want to be more psychic or you want to understand the moon rhythms, Celeste and I got you. Okay.
Yes, you can take both moon mastery and this, and you'll be, your life will be changed at the end.
I got chill bumps when you said that.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It's true. And so will your families,
Yes, yes. Better relationships when you connect you develop your psychic abilities, as well as, understand how you, as well as other people, need to be emotionally fed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're shuffling our cards. Let's do the fire signs first. Let's see what it is that our fire sign friends watching, our Aries, Leos, Sagittarius, could best, I guess, get focused on for this new moon in Virgo. Just what is it that our fire signs really need to hear and focus on? Okay, so I'm using the Golden Tarot deck, which is kind of my old standby, and I get the Empress. So really, really good for our fire signs, because the Empress is about creativity and about birthing new projects. Okay, so this is a double message for you to start something new, and then to have the foresight, the Saturn square, the Saturn involvement of this is a long-term commitment. So you could start it hot and fresh and turn something up that's different for you in your life, but just make sure that you have the patience to let it play out. So you're part of the design, but maybe you don't have to create, right? Sometimes with that Virgo energy, we like to control things. And this is just a reminder to our fire signs that you don't really have to control it. You do have to conceive it and put it out there and design the idea, but then over time, watch what happens. And so really good card of fertility too. So if anybody's looking to get pregnant, I always tell them this could be a very fertile time for you. And if you're not looking to get pregnant, just be very careful and aware, because this card is a card of pregnancy. So, all right, what do you get for the fires?
Okay, so I am using the Shaman's Dream Oracle by Colette Baron Reed and Alberto Villoldo. This is such a beautiful deck. An oracle deck, and I get for fire sign Moon Maiden, new beginnings. Hello, a new moon. They just thinking about what seeds you're going to plant in order to reap the harvest of your big dreams. I love that. That's so perfect for fire signs.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought your card was going to say moon mastery.
Yeah, and that too. Sign up for moon mastery. That would have been perfect. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, especially if you're a fire sign, learning how to connect into your emotional body can really help you as well. It can help everyone, but yeah, this is perfect for fire signs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a good business trick. Just oh my God, psychic development. Okay, let's clear for our earth signs. So what is it that our earth signs could really focus in on? Some extra insight or guidance around this new moon time, what's opening up for them, what's birthing through them, what wants to be just created and seen by our earth sign friends. Okay. We've got the Six of Wands. And so this is a victory. This is a win. This is moving forward. This is a yes. This is feeling supported. This is feeling like the cavalry is here. So if you're doing something that is just off on your own and you're not feeling supported, this could be a time to look for support and network, like Celeste was suggesting. So earth signs, look for your cavalry. It's on the way. This is about forward motion.
I love that. I love that as a Taurus sun. Yes, yes. Okay. Ooh, and I pulled Garden of Venus, rest and renewal. So I think this is so important. Like I was saying before, that, Leo season was somewhat chaotic for a lot of people. Even if nothing happened, the energy has been very very chaotic. So like really take some time in the dark of the moon to have some reflection and have some rest so that you can, part of the victory is, the Venusian process of like the Empress that we were talking about for fire signs, but also like drawing the magnetism of resources and beauty and benefits to you as well with this Venus energy.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
Being receptive to the
Help.
cavalry coming in and
Exactly.
the networking piece with the Garden of Venus. I love this card. Yes.
And I love that double meaning. Help is on the way and you don't have to do it all. You get to receive it,
That yin principle. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did fire, we did earth. Let's do air. I'm just clearing and asking spirit to come forward with any messages for our air signs watching. Our air friends are, let's see, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. Let's just clear for those folks. Okay. All right. I get a card of strength, which is about perseverance. And so this is just a reminder that the fruit isn't born the day the seed is planted. So really kind of keeping your eye on the prize, maybe going slowly, and knowing that this might be a season that requires great inner strength, great inner stamina, and just a lot of patience, right? So the strength card is a major arcana card. And so I know that it's very significant for some of you guys, some of you air signs watching, and some of you that are like, I don't want to hang on one more, like the root is breaking and falling off. But the strength card reminds you to where are you getting your strength from, right? Are you trying to get it all from yourself? Or are you calling on a higher power? Are you calling on your support team? And that can go positive or negative. You could be asking for too much help and not taking personal power. So the strength card this season for some of our air signs watching, what part of this resonates for you? Do you need to tap into some inner strength? Do you need to kind of call back some of the things that you've given away? Or is this just a season of perseverance, of chopping wood, carrying water, taking care of ourselves, and getting into that Virgo routine?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And let's see. Oh, I pulled Wailing Tree.
Wow.
Reconciliation. So that, I've never pulled this card before. Let me see what the book says. Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah. Grief and mourning, a time of necessary losses. So it's really a call for air signs to have some inner strength and let go of what is no longer serving you. And I think with Mars being in Gemini, and it's going to be in Gemini for like 7 months, this could be really pushing you. And it's really important for air signs to because Mars will either be in your sign, Gemini, or in a trine to Aquarius as well as Libra. And Mercury is going to go retrograde in Libra during this season.
Mm-hmm.
Really a call to take care of your nervous system, to have the tools, like put in the Virgo tools in order to like have a healthier, more balanced life. And yeah, I think that's just, there can be some challenges for our air people, but we grow from them and are stronger later than before. Yeah.
Yeah, our comeback is better than our setback type of a thing.
Yeah.
The Wailing Tree reminds me, like, sometimes I got to go scream in my car.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, putting words to your feelings, especially feelings of sometimes air can detach and just like kind of like brush things off and just keep going. And maybe this is a call to take some time at this new moon to really process your feelings. And if there's any grief or whatever that comes up, reconcile to move on rather than just like brushing past it.
Yeah. I like what's coming to mind too when you were talking about air is that it's a shamanic practice to blow into a stone. So you would ask the stone people can you take on this grief? This is too much for me to carry. This is too much for me to bear. And I'm not going to blow my grief into my crystal here, but that's the practice. You would just blow into it and ask it to, for permission. And then you would let it go back into the earth. It's moved. You've used your air, you've used your wailing tree, and you've asked for help and support where you need the most amount of strength that you might have to conjure up in a long time. So big season with Mars and Gemini for our air signs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm stunned. That's the first time I've seen that card.
Sorry, air signs. Come have sessions with us.
There's a season for everything.
There is. And
it can be very healing. And we're talking about Virgo season, improving our health. Yeah.
Right. Improving our health, getting in touch with our lineage wisdom. Okay, let's clear for our water signs. Let's just clear the deck and ask what it is our water signs need to hear just for our new moon in Virgo reading. Okay. All right, I got a 2 of coins, which is about a financial decision. It's a this or that. It's and it feels like you can't really make a right decision. It doesn't necessarily feel like there's a clear yes. And so the 2 of coins, right? This is when we kind of hit a fork in the road and almost everything feels regrettable. And that is some of the best advice I've ever gotten is when you hit that fork in the road where everything feels regrettable, for somebody to remind you that it just doesn't feel like anything's going to work. So you have to make peace about it in your heart, make a decision and move on. There are no mistakes. You can't really make one. It just might feel like that for a season. If you're looking at this new moon and you're like, oh, I don't know, or there's a big purchase I want to make and I'm not sure, or I feel like I should be in savings mode, but this class is whatever calling me forward, or you know what I mean? If there's a big financial decision for you, what do you do about it? What is your unique decision-making process? I'm going to direct you to your human design chart to figure that out. But you can also use your own psychic development. You can also look at your astrology chart and help you understand your unique way of making decisions. That way, whatever is facing you financially will come a little bit easier. It'll be a little bit more clear for you. It looks like not only a fork in the road financially, but also just learning more about your decision-making process, and discernment is what I'm going to say. So discernment for the Virgo new moon.
I love that. Yeah, discernment is a great word, Virgo word. And I will pull, empty well, time to replenish. So I also see that two of coins as like a health card, like figuring out what your routines and rituals are supportive versus what are not. And this is a call with the empty well to get some more rest and to make some decisions and discern about your habits and your rituals, and maybe set some intentions, especially for like Scorpios, where the South Node is in Scorpio. So a lot of Scorpios are having low energy or things like that. Really a wonderful time to like make some decisions to bring some more healthy routines and rituals into your life, as well as get more rest and replenishment.
And maybe some of that discernment is about taking some things away. I've been going crazy in this season. I've put so much new health things on my list. It's like maybe there's some that can start to come off and I can refine it, right?
Yeah. And this is a call. Also drink more water. I'm getting. Yeah. Empty well, rehydrating yourself, hydrate your physical body as well as your spirit with psychic development classes and moon mastery, water signs.
Oh, what's that? A card that says take classes. All right. Well, I like to do a universal card for everybody in case nothing made sense so far today and you just need a little hug from the other side. Like, let's just look a universal card. And then guys, come to our Ask Anything sessions and we would love to support you through astrology, psychic development, human design, moon mastery, the anybody that's on the self-exploration path, right? These are the tools that we use. Okay, so just getting clear for anybody watching, just an overall universal card. So this is, for me, I get the Two of Cups, which is really points to that Venus opposition, like that you were talking about, in terms of some people feeling that pull to relationship. And so I think there's going to be some fall weddings for sure. And I know that it's easy to want to fall in love this time of year. And so I know that relationship focus could be a big theme. So refining or using discernment or getting some more structures into your relationship, maybe getting into a schedule. There's a lot of folks that are in blended families, right? And so having a different schedule coming into the fall with your significant other, some of those themes could be coming up. But this is the card of falling in love, being in love, and being a good partner. So you could use this new moon to do an inventory on yourself. Like, what is it like to be on the other side of you as a partner? Are you pretty easygoing and flexible, or is it your way or the highway? Or are you good at compromise, or are you too good at compromise and you're always doing and giving? But this could be a little bit of a relationship nudge or a relationship check-in. Right.
Yeah. And I decided to switch decks.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm using the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. This is Kim Kranz's new deck. And because I think because Virgo is also the priestess.
Right.
And so think about how you're an alchemist in your own life. Think about how you can turn lead into gold. What are your tools? What is your laboratory? And so for Virgo season, we're going to all think about this, or the new moon in Virgo, I should say.
Yes.
We're going to think about this. What alchemy should we think about?
I love when I lit up when you said laboratory. I'm like, yeah,
we all have our own laboratory. Okay, this card fell out. I put it back in, and then I picked it up off the top.
That's the card.
This is the card, and it's Mars.
Oh,
Aries.
wow.
Look at that fire. So
Yeah.
and Mars is squaring the new moon, the sun and the moon. And an exact partile, it's called when it's the same degree square. So let me read this. This is card number 5. This is one of the planetary elements. So it's a really wonderful time to get in touch with your Mars as well. It's very primal, and it can be a little reactive, and how you take action in this world. And with your Mars and your moon, understanding how your emotions lead to your actions, I think is really important for this new moon. And
the pull, the pull between Mars, the self, I am, like that fist, like I am, versus the partner, right? Like that's the big polarity there.
Yeah. So think about will, vigor, and activism. With Mars by our side, we can assert ourselves in the world. Our presence is felt and our voices are heard. Like a flame, Mars rises upward and helps us stand strong for what we believe in. Social justice movements are a great example of Mars's energy and action. With clarity of purpose, Mars leads us to peaceful change, the upholding of human rights, and representing the unrepresented. When Mars appears in a reading, there is strength and vigor required to face the challenges ahead. It may take the form of speaking your truth, getting yourself out of a harmful relationship or job, or getting involved in activist work. As alchemists, we must be precise, Virgo, with our dosage of Mars.
Woo.
As uncontrolled amounts of it can lead to outbursts and violence. Mars is most potent when paired with Ashima, Ahimsa. Ahimsa, sorry. Ahimsa, which is nonviolence. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So think about that. And I was thinking about this when I was preparing about how something may come up about women's rights with overturn of Roe versus Wade, because it was last Virgo season, or maybe it was last Leo season. It was right around this time last year when Texas passed that, where you live, passed that law where you could put a bounty on someone if they assisted a woman with getting an abortion, and suing them for $10,000 or something just insane, the state surveillance. So I think we're all going to be called and to prepare and to get ready. So maybe think about how you can encourage other people, especially young people, about making sure they vote in the upcoming midterms for candidates who represent their values. Vote like your life depended on it, is what I would say. Yeah, make sure your voter registration is together. And that could be part of your new moon intention. Yeah, making sure everything's okay, because there are people who are trying to send women to Gilead. They're trying to bring the Handmaid's Tale to a town near you.
That's like piercing, right? Like my soul felt every word that you just said. I have been volunteering as in the voter, where I can't think of the words, like where you go to vote. I've been volunteering in the offices there.
The office of the registrar.
Yeah, I can't. It's at our courthouse, but
oh yeah.
But that is kind of because I'm politically neutral, especially with my business. That's how I can participate. I can just go volunteer and make it possible for people to come vote and speak their mind. And like Celeste said, vote as though your life depends upon it, because it really does. I've had clients even this week that have been challenged by exactly what you're talking about. And it's horrifying, some of the cases. But Sarah Weddington was my professor in college here at UT at Texas, and she was one of the attorneys on the original Roe versus Wade case. Oh. Yeah, very interesting for me to look at like what's going on with my Jupiter, my higher education, and my teachers in my life. It's the Mars and your spiritual activism too. Just remembering your why, like you said, being empowered, following your values. That's a very Virgo thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's people have their choices. I mean, if you don't believe in abortion, don't get one. But I mean, there are also like women who are having miscarriages, who are being, forced into, all sorts of things. So even, it's not a call to believe a certain way.
No, of course. Pay attention to what's best for you in your life and get active about it. And in many cases, right? Like in many different, I guess, realms of life that are showing up. The one thing that we didn't touch on was the invasion, the FBI invasion or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but basically going into
the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago.
For Mar-a-Lago. And I feel like that type of energy is also still very present with this new moon. And so there can be an element of discovery that's going on too, right? So I'm trying to not use the word invasion. So I'm trying to say, like, let's call it discovery. So that can be, right? It can come at a national level. It can come at a global level. It can also come at a personal level. So we've given you a lot to think about, guys. This has been such a great chat. I really appreciate your time and energy, Celeste. I love you so much as a friend. I look up to you as a colleague.
Aww.
And I'm so glad we could talk about this interesting new moon. And if you haven't already, please check out Astrology by Celeste, her Instagram. Will you tell everybody when you're live?
Yeah, so I go live on Instagram every Sunday and Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. On Sunday, I do Celestial Insights, where I talk a lot about current events and their relationship with astrology. And on Monday, I do Astro Oracle, where I'll talk about the astrology, and then I pull a card for each of the zodiac signs, and you get a sun, moon, and rising reading to help you surf the energies of the week, as well as I have my Celestial Insights podcast. You can find that anywhere. And this week was a really good episode about what to think about. So you can still listen to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and her classes are at astrologybyceleste.com. If you want to come to psychic development, it's wiseskiescollective.com on our classes tab. And whatever you do, just, follow your own path. Like, you were born under a different star, and hopefully you can use this information for yourself, not against yourself, to inspire you to just get in tune with the rhythm of the moon. This flavor is Virgo. And so our hearts are with you. We're available for services, for sessions, and for classes. And we would love to work with you one-on-one or in the Wise Skies membership too. So until next time, guys, thank you again, Celeste, and namaste, everybody.
Thank you, Tiffany.